we realized this past week in reading from the book of Revelation that it's filled with symbols and obscure language because they were trying to keep the pagans who were persecuting the Christians from understanding its meaning. And so some of it is even lost to our generation, its full meaning. But when we look at it closely, and scripture scholars have, we see in today's reading that it refers to an episode back in the prophet Ezekiel, where he was told to eat the scroll. And what does it mean? It could mean that it was with reference to the Old Testament, but it also includes the New Testament, the scriptures. And the scriptures, when we look at them, can be bittersweet, because if we look at what Jesus promoted and promised, his suffering, his pain turned into joy, his suffering turned into happiness, and his death turned into life. It's also contradictory to the world's standards. No human being would plan things like this, to have their only begotten Son to die on the cross. But God's wisdom is different than our wisdom. And we see that if we're going to be Christians, we have to follow Christ in every way. So it means that there would be suffering in our life. That's the sweet, that would be the bitter part of the scroll. And yet brings us a sweetness in our life, because the greatest act of love the world has ever seen was Jesus Christ dying on the cross for us. And so it's an act of great love, and it brings us confidence and hope. And so together the two things are going to be a part of our lives. There will be suffering, there will be joy and happiness together. But in the end, God will bring it all together in the kingdom of heaven. And so we live as people of hope. And hopefully we can, every time we offer the Mass, we should offer ourselves on the paten with the hosts and in the chalice with the wine that becomes the body and blood of Christ. And with Jesus, we offer ourselves to the Father. And through the strength of the Holy Eucharist that we receive, we can go day by day, even being joyful and at peace, even if they're suffering, because we know that God is always with us, and his promise is eternal joy in his kingdom. Let us stand and offer our prayers and petitions.